Welcome, everyone, and happy Friday, right? We made it through the week. Somehow, the old Freight Master did not even finish his day until 20 minutes to 2 a.m. this morning. So bear with me. We're going to get through this, okay? But recently I had posted about assisting some of you with acquiring your first customer, you know, if you're a freight broker, freight agent, or even a carrier looking to go direct, right? And it had been a minute since I've done a live, so I thought I would jump on here today and do one for you. And I know that some of you that I've talked to, you know, you're more or less kind of going about the process the right way. You've been paying attention, but there's like a few little things that I think need to kind of be tweaked for you to really kind of jump that final hurdle between turning that prospect into an actual customer, right? So with that, I kind of wanted to go over some things with you today. And again, I hope, you know, that I answer everybody's questions. I do have the live chat on. I also know that we've got a couple of viewer requested videos coming up. I actually wanted to try to get to one of those today, but unfortunately it'll probably be like Monday, Tuesday before I can get to those. So I do apologize, but we will get to them. I believe one was on insurance and I forget what the other one was off the top of my head. But yeah, so more or less kind of talking to some of you here recently, you know, they're like, it's just really tough out there, right? You know, I understand that we're still in a freight recession, you know, and it can make, you know, landing customers tougher than normal, but it's not impossible. So I wanted to share with some of you, some of my tips and strategies that you can use to stand out and bring in new business. Okay. And again, if you have questions along the way, I will be checking the live chat for you. As always, I do appreciate your subscription. If you're brand new to the channel, I hope I've earned it. And as always, I do have tips, tools, services in the description down below for you. If you're looking for any discount codes on DAT, if you need a surety bond, factoring, right, and or e-carrier check if you're looking for list of new prospects by industry, by location, all of that. Again, I use it daily. It's one of the tools that I use to help bring new customers to you through getting tongue-tied today. Not enough coffee. As part of my side service that I've done to try to help some of you out. So number one is market awareness, right? And customer focus. You've really got to stay informed, okay? Keep your finger on the pulse of the freight market, understand what industries are shipping, what's not, what challenges your customers are facing. And this really allows you to kind of tailor your approach to their specific needs, right? And I will, throughout this video, kind of go over some examples of some conversations that I've had with some shippers that hopefully you'll find valuable, and you'll be like, oh, you know, that's been almost the exact same thing that I've been hearing, and I didn't know how to kind of turn that conversation, you know, into where, you know, I can send them over my packet and get them signed up and start moving loads, okay? Target your prospects strategically, right? Don't try to be everything to everyone, right? Identify your niche market or industry with ongoing shipping needs and become an expert in their requirements, okay? I'm going to give you an example right now of this, and that is a lot of the shippers that I've talked to this week. Like yesterday, we landed 4 new shippers for some of you that reached out to me and asked me for help, you know, and again, it's a very small fee, but it can be a huge confidence builder for those of you that are new to have that first customer, right? And actually start working with them and I believe that once you start doing that, because that helped me when I first started, I really kind of fumbled through the whole sales process and everything. I was I was green as green could be, right? And but once I did land that first customer, that really kind of gave me the confidence. And after understanding their requirements, their needs, that helped me tailor my approach to my other prospects, right? And land more customers. So one of the things that I'm hearing from shippers right now is they are actually going through a purge, right? Some of their existing carrier base, if they're working with assets, or their brokers are not following through with their requirements, right? We all know how the how fraud has kind of plagued our industry over the last 2 years. I'm getting a lot of feedback from shippers as far as, we've had loads stolen. There was a company out of Minneapolis that said that they've had a couple of loads stolen. One, they were actually able to recover, thank goodness. The brokers aren't, and then they work with brokers and assets. They weren't providing tracking. They weren't being provided with the driver's name, the carrier that was coming to pick up. And at least to me, this seems like very basic information, right? When it comes to strengthening your relationships with your customers. Why would you send them a packet, get them signed on, right? Get the credit approval, and just throw loads up on the load board and hope something sticks? I mean, I'm genuinely asking you. I mean, it behooves us to kind of, like I've always said, under promise, over deliver. Okay. But these are things that you can use right now, right? To turn that prospect into a customer. Like if they go, well, we're kind of slow right now, because I've heard that this week. I don't know how many times, okay, well, typically when do you guys, when does your freight volumes typically pick up? Is your current broker or carriers providing tracking? Like, I start asking all of these questions, right? And I actually tell them how some of my newer customers, that were facing the same issues that they were, and how we were able to remedy that, right? You need to be a problem solver. You want to be a partner. You want to be an ally to them, right? And this might actually come as like very refreshing news to them. Like, holy cow, somebody who's actually going to follow through on what they say they're going to do, right? Which kind of should be the norm, in my opinion. They've had loads rerouted, like in the middle of a shipment. It's just some of this has just been crazy insane, some of the stuff that I've been hearing, and I'm almost jaw dropped with some of that. So when you hear things like this, or like I said, well, when does your volume typically pick up if you are slow right now? Ask them that. Don't just leave it at, well, we're kind of slow right now, so we're all set. All right, and move on to the next one. No. Say, well, would it be okay if I sent you over our information, so that you can, have us on file, and when things do pick up, maybe I can follow up with you then, or if you have any need between now and then, you can reach out to me, right? These are all little things that you can use to, kind of turn that conversation around. Okay. By acknowledging their pain points, right? Like I mentioned earlier about tracking, providing driver information, carrier information, right? All of these types of things. We actually just landed one the other day, and the broker that I picked that customer up for, they put tracking on almost every single load, or they do put them on every load. And that was one of the things that I used to, kind of turn the conversation around. And it, that was sort of that starting point, right? And this shipper is always busy, or always busy. They gave me the three main points that they ship to, right? The three main cities, and that they had freight basically picking up out of every state, on a regular basis. They send out their load list every Wednesday, but they too were going through a big purge. We've got another pending customer right now for which we landed one, and I had another one that said, hey, as much as I would love to sign you on, didn't really matter what I said, I really tried to. And they were actually almost to the point of where, screw it, send me over your info. Like, they were that impressed with the call. But they weren't, their manager was not going to allow them to onboard any new carriers or brokers until after June 1st. So, yeah, utilize this. Ask questions. It really comes down to asking questions, because otherwise they're just going to dismiss you. You're just another broker calling them, right? Don't ever leave it just at that. And even if they sigh and like, I just wish this person would get off the phone with me, be pleasant. Don't go, oh, okay. I've listened in on some of your phone calls, right? When we go through and providing tips, and I get it, right? Getting rejection after rejection after rejection can be almost mind-numbing. It can be very disheartening. It will dissuade you. I've talked about in previous videos about how I've made all of my calls, and it was like 4:45, and I was just like, oh, I don't know if I can make one more call today. But then I thought to myself, you know what kind of a hypocrite would I be if I left it without making one or two more calls, right? If I didn't just push those out, even though I was tired, even though I'd made umpteen calls and I'd been rejected all day or been stuck in voicemail jail, right? For those of you that have followed the channel long enough, about voicemail jail. But I you know what? And I cranked out a couple more calls, and we got a yes right at the end of the day. And it was just, it just completely turned everything around for us. And it was, very fantastic opportunity that we got involved in. Like I mentioned earlier, become a shipper's ally, right? In a buyer's market like the one that we're in now, because we're in a freight recession, price is king. But don't focus on that, right? You want to focus on the additional value that you bring beyond just, trying to be someone with the lowest price or cost, right? This could be, better vetting of your carriers, sending in more reliable carriers, having superior customer service, like some of the things that we mentioned a moment ago, providing tracking, right? Regular updates, letting them know the driver's name, phone number, the truck number, trailer number, all these things that I feel are very basic things when, for building relationships with my customers. I don't know where that fell off or got, overshadowed, but, become a negotiation ninja, right? With so many carriers competing for loads, you can leverage this for better rates and terms for your customers. This kind of demonstrates your ability to save them money. But again, don't focus solely on price. Focus on your service. I think that, again, through conversations with the shippers that I've talked to this week, they know that the market in the near future is going to start kind of turning around. That volumes will start coming back. Capacity is falling off daily, right? They know that they're going to be on the other end of the spectrum of things here before too long. So again, don't let price be your focus. Okay. Again, I do have the live chat open. If you guys have questions for me or anything, figured I would just take a quick second here to remind you of that. Let's see, moving on. I'm just kind of going over my notes here. Sharpen your operations, right? That's something we've talked about recently, was embracing technology, okay? Utilize your freight management software to streamline your processes if possible. There's a lot of you that have sort of the basic knowledge of your management systems, but not too terribly in depth, right? And that's primarily like a lot of you freight agents out there. Maybe you recently signed on with a company and they kind of gave you a brief overview, kind of a quick shotgun, tutorial on it, but nothing really in depth on all the features and things at your fingertips. Okay, because ultimately this can help free up your time for more prospecting and client communications, right, and your carrier communications as well. Kind of moving beyond that, communication is key. Keep your customers informed throughout the shipping process. Even if something bad happens, don't try to hide it from them. They will be, even though they might be a little upset initially, they would rather find out about it now than you wait until it's too late to do anything about anything, right? If it's something that you can handle and you have handled it, like, if it just took a matter of 5, 10, 15 minutes, still let them know about it, but tell them what you've done and that everything's fine now. We had a little hiccup, but I took care of it. And they will value that. They truly, truly will, because they're like, you know what? Hey, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, and thank you so much for, handling that without going, hey, we got a problem. What do you want to do about this? Right? Sometimes you don't have a choice due to certain shipper requirements, but if it's something that you can handle, absolutely do that. But again, don't hide behind it. Again, we talked about don't just sell, but become a partner. Right? Focus on building long-term partnerships with your customers. Understand their business goals. Become a trusted advisor. I think we talked in one of the recent videos about how one of the shippers that I reached out to, they weren't even aware of what was going on in the market right now and kind of where things were heading this year going into 2025. And you could almost hear the head scratching, right? Like, what the hell is my broker doing for me? They're not telling me any of this shit, right? What the hell do I need them for? The freight master's got it. I'll take care of them. So again, keep your customers informed when there's, updates on things. Give them that insight that you have. Maybe they already know, they might even say, hey, yeah, I heard about that. But I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. So even if it's something that they already know, the fact that you brought it to their attention can still be huge, right? Because there might come a point in time where they haven't heard about something, but the fact that you are bringing it to them and are addressing it, all of the information is invaluable, right? It's truly the key. I don't know how old everybody is out there that watches the channel, but if you remember like the old G.I. Joe cartoons, like, when I was a kid, knowing was half the battle. It really, truly is. Some proactive outreach. Don't wait for your customers to come to you, right? Don't just send off a cold email or shoot off a cold call and just kind of leave it at that. Regularly reach out, again, with industry insights, market updates, how your service can benefit them, right? Be a partner, be an ally. Don't just constantly sell. Show them the benefits of your service. Okay. And again, I can't stress this enough. A couple of additional tips is network like crazy. There was actually a carrier that I've been assisting with finding direct customers, and we got them a direct customer out of where they said that they needed a customer. And then during our conversation, while I was providing them with that shipper's information and everything, they actually said, hey, do you actually have someone with freight out of here? And immediately I had a light bulb. Why? Because my network is so expansive. Like I said, I'm typically a text, a DM, a phone call away from somebody, right? And so I said, you know what? I actually might. And so I pulled them up, shot Brandon a message and said, hey, I've got this really great carrier. I said, they've got regular capacity right there for you. Would you be interested in partnering with them? And he said, absolutely. Sent me over their onboarding link. Boom, done. So that was 2 customers that I acquired for them same day. Why? Because of my network, right? Have you guys ever watched the show Shark Tank? Anybody? Am I alone here? You guys are quiet today. But if you've ever watched that show, they might say, well, I can get you into Walmart, or I can get you into Home Goods, or I can get you, whatever store. They don't physically own that store, but they know their network is, they have people that run that store that trust them, that trust their expertise and things, and that they know what their needs are, and that they would be interested in that product, right? Well, it's the same thing with freight brokering, with being a carrier. Network. It's such a huge part of your long-term success. I can't stress it enough. And I know if it sounds like I'm browbeaten, I apologize, but I can't say it enough, right? And because I have such a vast network, I've been able to help out so many of you, and it really kind of warms my heart. Like, I have a single father right now that's kind of struggling to get customers, and he's not looking to make $1 million a year or anything, even though he said that would be nice. He just wants to make a comfortable life for him and his son. Okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We don't need to hear about, make this person made $10 million. Whatever your level of success is, let that be your goal, right? It's not all about flashy millions. It's just not. Would it be nice? Absolutely. But like I've mentioned, and I haven't talked about this in a while, but set levels to your goals, right? Start off with, if you don't have a single customer right now, I want you to set a goal of making so many prospect contacts per day. Okay. The next day, do the same thing, but also do your follow-ups with those that might be on the fence, or said, hey, today's a bad time, reach out to me tomorrow. Even if they said, hey, go ahead and send me over your packet. You know what I mean? I'll look at it, follow up with them the next day. Absolutely do that. Okay. It's truly going to help you out. If you have any testimonials or reviews that you can showcase, right, that provide positive feedback from other satisfied customers to build trust with potential clients, right? So for those of you that are brokerage owners or even freight agents, right, that can be huge. I've got customers that have been with me for years. I'm the only broker that they work with. They get bombarded with calls from other brokers, but because I do everything that I say that I'm going to do, they stick with me, right? If I fell off and just I got complacent, whatever, I would inevitably end up losing those customers. But they provide me with dedicated freight. They provide me with spot market freight. I know what carriers they prefer for me to send in, right? There's all these different intricacies that I provide, that they prefer, and I provide that for them. Okay. I really hope by following these strategies and adapting, to the market conditions, you can now position yourself as a valuable asset to your prospects and current shippers, right? Even during a freight recession, right? The one thing I really want you to remember here is that excellent customer service, clear communication, and a focus on value, not always on price, will always be in demand regardless of what the market's doing. So again, even in a freight recession, you can get customers. Okay. Again, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Again, if I earned your subscription, I'm very humbled by that. I appreciate it. And I've got, again, list of tools and services below. Again, eCarrier Check, I use them daily for my prospecting efforts. Operfi, what can I say? They're the best factoring company around. They've got such, and again, right there, their communication. I've talked to some of other Operfi clients, customers. Literally, they've sent them an email at like 11 o'clock at night or a text and gotten a reply. What other factoring companies do you know that does that? Right? They're not trying to reinvent the wheel with factoring, but they're truly hands down like levels above the rest, in my humble opinion, and many, many others. So if you're looking for factoring, if you need a surety bond, I've got a link for that down below too. We started to save people money on their surety bond. If you need a DAT subscription, there's 10% off down there. So again, feel free to check that out. I will pop up my email for everybody. For those of you that maybe want to reach out to me, have a suggestion for a future video, anything that you might want to share, whether you're a carrier, truck driver, freight broker, freight agent, doesn't matter. Okay, feel free to reach out to me. I do keep that email monitored regularly throughout the day, and I try to reply to everybody in a timely fashion. But I hope everybody's enjoying the rest of their Friday. For those of you that just popped on, I apologize. We're just kind of shutting this down, so you'll have to kind of go back and rewatch. Otherwise, I just more or less be on repeat here. But I hope you guys found this helpful in your prospecting efforts and turning your prospects into customers. With that, as always, be kind to one another. Until next time, bye-bye now.